David, thank you for being a part of our series on media revolutionaries. How did you get into this business?
Well, I got in by accident, David. I was supposed to be a lawyer, thought I wanted to be a litigator. I decided at the last second not to go to law school. Didn't know what I wanted to do, and my dad said, you know, you should try advertising. Sounded like a good idea. So I got lucky and got admitted to the Leo Burnett training program. I was really lucky because I was the only one of 19 that didn't have an MBA. And so I must have faked passion for advertising pretty good, but it was a great lucky stroke.
Was that in Chicago?
Absolutely.
And were you in media or creative ed?
Well, at the time, everybody started basically in media or creative, and I started in media, which was the route either to media stardom or account management stardom. But it involved basically spreadsheets, cranking numbers, and super menial tasks like hand collation of presentation decks.
In those days, they didn't have PowerPoint.
No.
Now, did you feel you were better at media than you were at creative, or the other way around?
You know, over the years, I got to do some creative, but I really fell in love with the media account management business side of the business, and the real business side came when my boss at 27 at an agency died, and I wound up as CEO, not knowing which foot to put next, but you learn fast.
Now, over that time, up to your ascension as CEO.
Ascension, easy. This is not a religious program.
Did you have a mentor or two that you can give credit for some measure of your success?
Yeah, I had a major mentor and partner named Chuck Peevler, and we worked together side by side for 25 years. He was 7 years older. He was the CEO, I was the president, and he taught me a ton. Taught me about courage, taught me about vision, taught me about people. Was a great mentor. But along the way, I had a lot of incredible client mentors, too. Having had the chance to work directly with Lee Iacocca was an amazing experience. But also Bob Lutz, who transformed really two companies, and watching those leadership styles was really amazing.
Well, they certainly had a great effect, I think, on your expertise as you became CEO of Interpublic. And on your way to that job, what would you categorize as your greatest accomplishment?
I think on the way to that job, the greatest accomplishment was shifting from thinking of myself as an individual performer with talent to an igniter of people's talents.
Very interesting. Now, always with every top executive, there's some setback or challenge that had an effect on your career. Can you tell us what that was and how you dealt with it?
Well, I think there's lots of setbacks, because if you're not having setbacks, you're probably not risking enough. But the biggest setback came probably when, in a consolidation of all of the global client business, True North, where I was the CEO, lost to Omnicom. And the setback was big, but let's say it was 10% of the revenue. But Wall Street was in a consolidation mode and decided that even though we were growing and nicely profitable, that we weren't big enough. So we dealt with it the way you would deal with it, and we became part of Interpublic.
Now, why would you recommend that a young person get into this business?
The people and the variety. So I'm a variety freak. My attention span's pretty short, And this is a business of constant change and enormous variety because of the variety of clients and the variety of people. But most importantly, I'd recommend getting into this business because of the people. There are three things that count in a career: passion, culture, and runway. And culture is all about people. And advertising people are the most fun, the most interesting, the most fearful, the most courageous, and all kinds of other adjectives of any industry I've ever seen.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received was, take the business seriously, but not yourself. Because the minute you start taking yourself seriously, bad stuff happens.
And I would assume you'd give that piece of advice to young, aspiring advertising executives as well.
100%. I hope someday that I'll be able to take myself seriously, but I certainly don't now.